Hello, so today I'm going to teach you some strategies for raising rigor and depth of knowledge in your classroom. So I have one really easy and practical strategy that you can apply tomorrow if you like the strategy and can see it used in your classroom. So our agenda for this meeting is I'm going to go over the survey results with you for the survey you took for me last week. I'm going to teach you the strategy called shared inquiry, so that really helps students with comprehension. So I'll go over what that is, how it can be used to improve student comprehension, and then give you a little model lesson. And then I'll give you time to reflect on how you can use that strategy within your classroom, and then give you some planning time. Okay. So, here are the survey results that I looked at. So if you selected lesson planning and curriculum as an area of need for you, I noticed that everyone wanted support with strategies for raising rigor and depth of knowledge. So that's why I chose shared inquiry to kind of help you up the rigor in your classroom for reading comprehension. Okay. So our learning objective for this PB session is I can participate in a shared inquiry discussion during the model lesson and then apply the strategies I learned to an upcoming lesson. So you can choose one that you're teaching either this week or next week to kind of practice that strategy as well. So first we'll talk about what is shared inquiry. So shared inquiry engages students in multiple reads of the text. So they're reading with a purpose each time, so like close reading. During a discussion, they're searching for answers to factual, exploratory, and interpretive questions, and I'll show you some examples of those as we read. So it engages students in open-ended discussion, so it's really encouraging students to think critically about a text and to dig deeper into the story. And shared inquiry uses varied depth of knowledge questions. So there's like surface level questions, just like factual ones that you can find right away, or deeper and higher level DOK questions that are more the exploratory and interpretive, where they have to engage in discussion about the text. I love the note taking. And then how will the shared inquiry questioning method improve instruction? So I always like to know like how this will help me before I do something, so I can see like the application of it. So the shared inquiry discussion, it improves critical thinking skills. So it encourages students to dig deeper into a text to understand obviously the surface level, but then what the author isn't telling you but wants you to figure out. Yes. Dive deeper into text, and then it also increases reading comprehension. So you'll notice in our model lesson, I'm always going to refer back to the text so students aren't pulling answers from their background knowledge or experiences. They're really digging into the text. Is there any questions on what this is? So here's some guidelines for a shared inquiry discussion. So these are things that you want to be thinking about before you start planning. So like I mentioned earlier, participants must engage in multiple close reads of a text. So you'll notice we will read a text twice. The first one is just to understand it, to ask questions. And then the second read, I'll give you kind of a purpose for reading, so what I want you to read and look for. All participants discuss their ideas. So a shared inquiry, we want everyone to be digging into the text and participating. And there are some methods that I'll show you that you can do to ensure everyone is participating as well. Participants are supporting their peers' interpretation using evidence. So if you, let's say, Warren has something to add on to what Nairubi is saying, he would offer his interpretation and evidence from the text to support his thinking. And everyone listens, of course, to others participants, because you do want to build off of each other and not just say, yep, I agree. You're encouraging them to say why they agree or disagree. So this is probably the hardest part I found about shared inquiry, but the teacher asks questions to promote critical thinking, but they're not offering their own interpretation, because we do want students to do their own thinking. And that's very hard for some of us. I know, especially me, I like to engage in the conversation as well. And they're constantly referring back to the text. So we're not picking like background knowledge or experiences, we're always bringing them back to the text. Okay, so we're going to do a quick model lesson. So everyone has sticky notes, right? Okay, so I have this story. It's not the full story. If you would like the full story, I can definitely send it to you. It's also linked here, and I'll get this presentation to you guys too if you would like it. But for the first read, I want you guys to mark places where you have questions, and then on your stickies, I want you to write down your questions. And if you can, please write one question per sticky note, because we'll do an activity with it after everyone's done reading. You can use an exclamation mark to note any important details or something that catches your attention. And then plus or minus signs for your reactions to the story or the characters. Okay, and I'll give you about 10 minutes to read the first read, and then we'll discuss your questions and then jump back to the second read. Sound good?